Welcome to Blacks in the Burbs. It is Women's History Month, and I have a very special person with me today. She is what I call the epitome of Black girl magic, Caribbean American girl magic. I want to thank her now, Michele Delisfort, for joining me today on Women's History Month for my SipNChat. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. This is wonderful.
Wonderful. So I have to tell you, when I first saw that you were elected, I was so excited because whenever somebody wins, a Caribbean American wins, I feel like we all won. It gives us a sense of pride when we see how far we've evolved in this country because we know the potential that's there, and the opportunity is all we need. Right?
Sure indeed.
So you grew up in Union.
I did.
And I wanted to find out a little bit about what your journey was like. How did you get to this place here?
Interestingly enough, so yes, I grew up in Union. I am a city planner by trade, and so I guess to kind of summarize, I work in a lot of different communities, and I'm always bringing my planning skill sets to those communities, and I felt that I had reached a point in my career and in my life where I had the time and the passion to give back to my community. And so I sat as a member of the planning board for a few years and moved all the way up to vice chair. And afterwards, I found that it would be nicer to promote my planning objectives and, again, just lend my support in a community development capacity by perhaps joining the committee. And so here I am.
And here you are. And that certainly is something that I see in Union. I moved here when I got married with my husband, and I've seen the development of the town,
Mm-hmm.
and I look forward to seeing more. And so your background being in urban planning is exciting.
Yes.
What's also exciting is the fact that you are, again, of Caribbean descent, Haitian to be specific.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a chat last year with 4 Caribbean American moms. And we all have parents who came here in the 1960s and 70s. So we talked about what that journey was like for us and for them. Mm-hmm. So I would love for you to share, because that's something that a lot of us don't get the opportunity to really talk about. Mm-hmm. If you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit of your family story.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm first generation born Haitian American. Mm-hmm. It's always interesting when I speak to others who are first generation born, and it doesn't matter whether you're Haitian or anywhere throughout the world, it's always a very different experience growing up.
Mm-hmm.
In my household, we have like the 3 L's. Everybody speaks Creole, and so it's l'école, l'église, and la caille, which basically means school and church and family.
And that's
so,
it.
those are your priorities.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I grew up, with that as my underlying goal and understanding of how to live my life.
Yeah.
So again, being Haitian American, those were my fundamental principles.
Awesome.
Working as a planner felt like, at minimum, I need to give back.
Wow, that's wonderful. And in that, who inspires you as a mom?
My mother.
Yeah.
So my mother, little thing,
Yeah.
but wow, full of grace, very thoughtful of others, just really humble, but very dynamic in a quiet kind of way. Self-driven, very disciplined, caring, and strategic.
Are there certain things that she said to you growing up that today, as mayor, you think about and you realize that it had an impact on you? Because I could think of a couple of things my mom told me growing up, and I remember in those moments where I struggle, like at work or in challenges in just socializing.
Yeah.
I remember certain words from my mom, and I'm like, oh yeah. It's almost like my vibranium.
Uh-huh.
Do you have a vibranium quote from your mom?
So my mother was big on, I was, the youngest in a family of, it's my brother and I, and my parents also raised 3 of my cousins. So there was, 5 of us all together, all boys, and I'm the girl.
Mm.
And so, I was kind of quiet and a little shy as a kid. And my mom used to always say, use your voice. Mm. So I think, if anything, between her and, other family members, they've always encouraged me to use my voice.
So you were appointed mayor,
Yes.
It was all over the news. And you're in this town, which is pretty much a small town. I mean, I grew up in Brooklyn, so for me, this is a small town. What is it like the next day after you open your door and you're leaving the house and your neighbors all know that you've just become mayor? Like, what was that like?
Well, Union is a great place because I live in the Vauxhall section of Union, and everybody knows everybody. So because I was already on the township committee, people understood that I was involved with the township on a political level. But it was very nice, to be honest with you, because I received thousands of congratulations and hugs and text messages and phone calls. And, even now to this day, I go to the gym in the morning and people come up to me and they really congratulate me. They understand that, it's not an easy job. Yeah, it was phenomenal.
I can only imagine. That's wonderful. So I have a couple of political questions.
Okay.
The first one is about Amazon. When we watched it kind of play out that Amazon was moving to New York, I was kind of sad because I wanted it to come to Newark.
Right.
At least it would have been closer to Jersey. I know that was like a big deal. And whenever a big company moves into a town, it does offer a lot of opportunity for the town. What are your thoughts on growing the township with the planning and development of the township when it comes to businesses?
So first and foremost, I thought about, again, what even got me here, right, was the passion to advocate, look at our commercial corridors, look at how we can revitalize them in a very strategic way, remedy our eyesores, be very much inclusive through community engagement, and really just look at ways to redevelop and revitalize our community in a way that sustains its original character.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. And I noticed that the population has changed here from the time that I started living here, which was maybe about 11 years ago.
Okay.
And it actually makes me really happy because, growing up, my parents put me in a private school.
Okay.
And I was the only black child.
Mm.
And and it was so challenging just navigating, trying to be who you are, and then people around you just not understanding you. And that whole concept of having diversity in our communities, I feel is the key to us kind of growing as a people.
Absolutely.
So having that here, can you share a little bit about what it was like growing up here originally when there wasn't a lot of diversity?
So I was fortunate in a sense, and I think, people that live in Union are fortunate because historically the Vauxhall section of Union was African American.
Yeah, and there's a lot of history there too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yes. I think the migration from slavery to freedom.
Right.
One of the areas that they moved to was Vauxhall.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that's awesome.
And so I was fortunate in that respect where my neighbors, looked like me.
Yeah. Okay.
We were, middle class families, and not only just the neighbors, but everybody. Union was not an environment that was contentious in any way, and so they were very welcoming. Schools, children. It always had a feeling of home.
Yeah,
so
I do feel that. That's why I stay here. Because when we moved from our townhouse, it was like, I don't want to go anywhere else. I looked everywhere else. The taxes were high.
Yep.
This was the perfect town to actually be in because the taxes were good, the homes are beautiful,
right.
And there's so much opportunity for growth here.
Absolutely.
So that's why I'm excited to have you as mayor. I'm looking forward to seeing everything that happens.
And not only that, but if you look at the families, we all have the same values.
Exactly.
And, so whether you're black, white, Asian, we all have the same fundamental values.
Yeah.
And so it's wonderful.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely wonderful. You're absolutely right. I know my son's birthday party's coming up, and every year I throw a big birthday party for him, and I never have to worry about the kids coming because it doesn't matter who they are, what color they are, they're coming because it's a family moment for them.
Yep.
It's so nice to see families at the baseball field and everywhere in Union. It's always been the thing that I admired most about it. When I was single, it made me sad, but I was dating because I was with my husband now, boyfriend at the time. But it did give us a motivation to to get married. So that was good. Union made us get married, guys. Okay. The last election in 2018 was record because so many women got appointed.
Absolutely.
I actually interviewed, so I have this weekly show also called Tea and Talk, which is more global. And I interviewed a young lady from Ghana who does a health initiative in Ghana. That was a couple of weeks ago. Ghana has a record number of women in office now. I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Like, where do you see, and also immigrants, so where do you see us going in terms of the political field now as it becomes more and more acceptable for women to become politicians?
So, it is a phenomenal experience. It's a wonderful time to be in politics as a woman, as a minority. And I have to tell you, interestingly enough, I feel like this is now, the environment, the political environment is very inclusive. It's very diverse. Whether you're Black, whether you're female, whether you're LGBTQ, whether you're someone who has special needs. I think my fundamental principle is that you really need to establish policy that reflects everybody.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win situation. The more diverse the playing field is and the players are, the better input you receive, the better feedback you receive, the better experiences that are brought to the table, which inevitably impacts the society as a whole in a positive way. So. I'm excited.
Yeah, I am too. I love that. And just here talking to you and you making yourself accessible to the community is something that I think will happen more as more women become politicians because we want to talk to community. I know that you have a lot planned. I just want to know what's next for you because, now you have a platform, right? And what are your mom goals? What are your goals as a politician?
Okay. So as a mom, I have 2 kids. I'm a blended family. So I have a daughter from my husband, and then I have a son. And they're both in college.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
ageless. Do you see this? Ageless.
Yeah, they're both freshmen in college, wrapping up their first year. So
is your husband Haitian as well?
No, he's American.
Okay.
And so, interestingly enough, as a mom, my goal is to continue to be as supportive as possible. I was very hands-on. And, again, education for me is just an opportunity to really reach your goals. And so I will continue to support, encourage, push.
Wonderful.
And, your second question I forgot was.
And politician goals, like your goals in politics.
Really? This is interesting. It's like, I'm a political science major. In my planning profession, for over 25 years, I've interfaced with politicians on an almost daily basis. I don't consider myself a politician. I really look at myself as a civil servant, somebody who, goes back to the engagement, to community development. I want to, continue to promote and policy that really will help revitalize my community. Yeah. And, if I have opportunities to go higher and, really create policies that, benefit regions and states, then why not?
Yeah, so I appreciate that. And then my last question before we get to the lightning round is time capsule. The time capsule. So if you were to put a little message in a time capsule that's open 50 to 100 years from now, let's just say 50 years from now, because things have been changing so rapidly in the past couple of decades. What would that message say?
That's a great question. Union is, I would say Union is diverse. Union is family friendly and safe. Union is a contributor to the world in areas of education, entertainment, sports. Union is, for me, Union is a place where, you grow up, again, very family friendly. Most people for generations actually stay in Union, which really speaks to the character of the community. Yeah. And some people, like me, we leave, but we come back and we raise our families. And so, and Union has a very rich sense of its history. And I love that. I love history. So there's somebody that it's a municipality that really carries it along. They refuse to neglect any facet of its history. And what I like also is they, again, back to the being inclusive, not only do they look at their history, but they look at the demographics in the town, and they praise and encourage and promote that to the best of their abilities.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Great. Well, thank you so much for your time. I've got a couple of lightning round questions for you. One, I'm just curious because I love food. What's your favorite Caribbean restaurant in town, and what is your favorite restaurant overall in the Burbs?
So I like Woolly Bon, but I'll be honest with you, it's actually in Maplewood.
Where is that?
It's in Maplewood on Springfield Avenue.
I've never heard of it.
It's a Haitian restaurant.
Oh, okay. And what's it called?
It's called Woolly Bon.
Oh, okay.
And it's delicious.
I can only imagine. I go to First Republic.
Yes.
I love that place.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The griot.
Yeah.
The pickles. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to make any of it. I just literally order it and bring it home for my husband. He's like, bring me that rice that's black. What's it called? I'm like, it's called black rice. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yep. Okay. And your favorite food in the Burbs overall?
Food. Oh my goodness. I like Mediterranean food. Haitian food first, of course, but I like Mediterranean food.
Okay. Your favorite place to go with your family?
We patron a lot of the restaurants throughout Union. We like Chestnut Chateau. We like Mario's. There's so many, and we like to hang out at the parks and stuff like that. So Union is very well known because it has so many parks.
Oh my gosh, so many. I love that about Union. It's great. And the parks are all very clean too.
Yes.
Which is what I love. And I think I asked you about your mom's quote, but is there a quote in particular that inspires you just from anyone in general?
So Nietzsche. I've been since I was an undergrad. That which does not kill you serves only to make you stronger.
Oh, I love that.
And it's something that through trials and tribulations, it's something to always be mindful about. And also, like, God will not take you to a place where the grace of God will not protect you. So it's just in life. I feel like everything's not going to be easy. In fact, I feel like a lot of things that are worth anything to you at all is a challenge, right? And so you have to embrace the challenge, and sometimes you fall and you pick yourself back up, and you know that at the end of the day that you're not alone. And
but don't be afraid to make that
plunge. Not at all. Go for it.
I love that. Well, thank you so much. That's actually something I did with my blog because I've always been on the business side of my job. For 21 years. And I've always been told I'm very creative and I'm really great with talking to people. So I'm like, well, let me try doing this blog, see how it goes. And I love having these conversations because it really does give people a lens, especially people who don't live in the suburbs, a lens on who we are as people. I feel like people where I grew up feel like, oh, you came into the suburbs and you disappeared. No, I have a whole other life here. I have a beautiful life here. And we have mayors like Michele Delisfort that make life beautiful. So thank you, Michele, for coming and having a conversation with me. Actually, I think I came to you.
Thank you for coming.
And I appreciate you giving me your time.
Anytime.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. It's been a wrap. It is a wrap.